panel session for the Africa Microfinance Conference 2023. You will believe with me that it's been such an exciting time speaking on different topics, insightful, knowledgeable people, professionals giving us insight into the topic, the theme, microfinance in the digital era. Right now, it's time to talk about the people that has brought us into this business, our customers. The topic of the session is building a customer-centric ecosystem in a digital microfinance era. I'm going to invite Dr. Genevieve to come on board. She's going to be the moderator for this afternoon session. Dr. Genevieve, it's nice to have you. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Olu, and thank you everyone joining us live on all the social media pages. Like he rightly said, it's been a day already and it's been very insightful. Yes, so now we want to talk about the people who bring us our money, the people who we are there for in business. We need to remember that being a customer-centric organization is not just the saying, but the action or what goes into it. So today I'm going to talk with great people who are already in the field of microfinance businesses and are doing great and wonderful things across the African continent. I would want to say that you believe that we cannot do it without the customer in mind. Being a customer-centric organization means that we need to remember the customer even before we start the product, or even before we identify what kind of product we want to establish. So to be customer-centric, it means that we are focusing on the customer. We are having the customer in mind even before producing whatever we are coming out with. And in our day, today we are told that we are in a VUCA world, we are in a bunny world. So many things are happening, and we cannot do it without being customer focused, without being customer centric. So to join me in this discussion where we delve into different areas of concern and also bring about solutions to be able to help us know how to build a customer centric micro organization, I have with me Susan. As they say, ladies first. So I will start with Susan. Susan is from Zimbabwe or Zambia, if I'm right. If I'm right, hello, Susan.
Yes, it is Zambia.
It is Zambia. Okay. So I have Susan. I have Joseph. I have Mr. Emery, and then I have one last person who will join us shortly from Malawi. He hasn't joined us yet, so we'll be waiting for him. But I'll first of all want to introduce Emery Rubangenga, chairman of SGM Microfinance in Rwanda. Emery Rubanga is a Rwandan businessman, very passionate about Africans' development in all aspects, and driven by a sincere desire and commitment to make a difference in Africa. His quest for self-sufficiency in his generation has actually moved him to do so much in terms of microfinance institutions and also youth development. Mr. Rubenga sat on several boards in Rwanda's private sector, as well as intentionally ranging from technology to energy and then education. He has been the local representative of PMU, Netherlands Management Corporation. And then he's also an entrepreneur who is into various businesses. Rubenga serves on the board of trustees of the African Wildlife Foundation, founded in 1961, the oldest international conservation organization focused solely in Africa. Mr. Rubenga obtained his bachelor's degree in business management from the National University of Rwanda. He continues to pursue his passion of sharpening his corporate management expertise through dedication, significant amount of his time to executive professional development and learning at the London Business School and also Maastricht School of Management in the Netherlands. Rubenga lives in Kigali with his wife and their years 17-year-old child, who is a son. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. And I'm sure we are going to have a very great discussion with you. I would like to also,
Thank you for having me.
you're welcome. I would like to also now introduce Madame Suzanne, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Agoro Microfinance, the largest rural microfinance institution in Zambia. She believes microfinance is the heart of all economic growth, more so in developing countries. The impact created by serving the unbanked and providing financial services to the informal sector cannot be overemphasized. Financial services, like any other industry, need to leverage keenly to gain operational efficiencies for sustainability. Susan believes that she brings on board leadership, strategy formulation and implementation, business analysis, and risk management, spanning over 15 years of contribution in the mining, construction, health sector, hospitality, and the financial services. She is a fellow of the Association of the Certified and Chartered Accountants and a member of Zimbabwe Chartered Accountant Institute. She also holds a Bachelor of Science degree from the University of Zambia. Thank you so much, Susan, for joining us today. And we believe that we are going to have a very great time with you on board. And I like to
Likewise,
introduce,
Doc. Thank you so much for
thank
having
you.
me. I'm very excited and I look forward to the conversations. Thank you.
Great. I would now like to introduce Joseph, Mr. Joseph Okote. He's the National President of National Association of Microbank in Nigeria. He is the current Managing Director of Con Microfinance Bank in Ogun State, Nigeria. He is a graduate of Applied Chemistry from the Federal Polytechnic of Odu Akiti, if I'm right, Akiti, where he obtained his higher national diploma and extension, and also has a master's in business administration Ondo State University. His work experience spans over 23 years with experience across micro corporation and mortgage banking. He is a certified microfinance expert from the Frankfurt School of Finance and Management. He's a member of the Institute of Administration, a micro certified banker from the Chartered Institute in Nigeria. He is also a fellow of the Institute of Management Consultants and a management consultant. Joshua is an alumnus of the International Institute, States, FX University at and he is also an alumnus of the Lagos Business School. So thank you so much, gentlemen. Our last person hasn't joined us. I'm
Thank you, Doctor.
happy for today, and I'm looking forward to the session. Is Genevieve profession, bank, and also a corporate trainer and a student of customer service. Let me put it like that. To moderate a session I'm very passionate about, just to be able to go into it, I would like to first of all, Susan, when we talk about being customer centric as a microfinance organization, what comes to mind or what you want to share with us?
What comes to mind when you talk about being customer centric for me is making sure that everything that we do evolves around the customer's need. I think almost every business is convinced that they are in business because they want to provide a solution to the customer. Whether that is actually met or not, I think it's a responsibility of the institution to actually make that assessment. But when you are talking about being customer centric, it means your starting point of everything that you do should be the customer. We have seen quite a lot, even in the past, in microfinance and even in other industries. We develop products and services in the boardroom or wherever we are, and then take to the client for the client to adopt that product, adapt their practices to that product, their livelihoods to that product. And I think now, when we have started talking about customer centric, we understand that somehow that was not the right way of doing it. I want to go back to the client and say, this is your problem. I want to understand your problem, and then I can tailor a solution, a product, a service that is going to specifically address that. So for me, when we are talking about being customer centric, all we are just saying is the customer is the starting point. The customer is the starting point. I think in some phrases I've heard people say customer first, and somehow it's meant where I am here, I want to save the customer first before I can look at anything else. Somehow, for me, that would be right, but in my opinion, what we are trying to say is whatever we are doing, can I start with the customer? Can I start by thinking about what the customer actually needs before I can tailor the solution, before I can actually think about what I want to provide out there? So that is really what it means for me when we're talking about being customer centric. Um, your technology should start with the customer. Your product should start with the customer. Your solution, your service should start with the customer. Probably in the future, even designing our branches, should start with the customer. Think about the customer first of all. Really, Doc, I think that is what it means to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have a technical problem with Dr. Genevieve, so I'll go on with the moderation, and I'll be asking Mr. Emery Rubebenga, when we talk about customer centric, what comes to your mind?
Thank you for the question. I'll just add few words to the magnificent answer of Susan. Indeed, when they say customer centric, it's putting the customer in the center, in the middle of the conversation by anticipating their needs. So we, as the service provider, and our client anticipate their technology to make sure that we're providing exactly what. I'll just give some example to make the conversation. In some of the people we are serving, they working in a rural area. They're working in agriculture sector, and a sector that is very specific, that has specific needs. You can imagine you have the rainy season, you have the dry season, you have sometimes it's time to do to buy fertilizers, it's time to do a little bit of irrigation and stuff. So a good microfinance company would anticipate the products that they are providing to their clients according to the needs in that particular time. So in a nutshell, we need to kind of know much better than know themselves. So to speak, be even the advisor, go beyond and a little bit ahead of the curve, and make sure that the persona is getting a tailor-made solution that anticipates their needs slightly ahead of the curve. So I would call just exactly like Susan said, put the customer in the midst of the conversation, anticipate the needs, have the feedback, make it interactive, and know your customer.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think the next person I'm going to ask is Mr. Joshua Okute. What comes to mind when you talk about customer centric?
Okay, thank you, moderator. Well, let me just add this to what my colleagues have said here. When you say, just when you talk about customer centricity, I think I want to summarize it into probably sentences or two ways. One is getting the pains of the customer, addressing the pains of the customer, getting relief for their pains, and understanding what brings customers gains and giving them creators, things that will create gains for these customers. So it's not about gain creators for the MFIs only, but it should be about creating gains to this customer. It should be about addressing the pains of this customer. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We actually talking about being customer centric in a digital age. How do we think the digital products or digital microfinance can get customer centric in its own unique way? I'll come back to you, Mr. Emiro Babenga, first.
Yeah, so we in this magnificent 21st century, we have so many tools. We have um, artificial intelligence. We have business analytics tools. It is magnificent to copy and paste what exists in other sector. So we can have, thanks to the technology, we can have a proper way of provide tailor-made solutions to our clients using the technology, but also using an behavior, understanding the mindset and trends. I was just reading recently the McKinsey report on Africa. It is amazing. We're having an amazing continent. We're having the youngest population. The average age in Africa is 19, and it is 49.5 in Germany. 49.5. Can you imagine that? And that means I am more switched on when it comes to technology. As you can imagine, they are more and more educated. We're getting a continent that is developing, so it's happening. And I really appreciate the time we in, and I strongly believe that we have in our tools, in our hands, we have the tools and the means to transform the continent through microfinance, using technology.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mr. Emery Rubabenga. But I'd like to ask a question. What are the benefits of adopting a customer-centered approach in the digital microfinance sector? What are the benefits? Mr. Joshua Okute, please, can you take that?
Okay, thank you. One, generally, I mean, whether it's digital, approach or the traditional approach, generally for microfinance institutions, it is expected that every of our products and services are actually addressed to the customers. So one of the advantages of having a customer-centric approach for digital financial services is one. Some of the benefits are, one, you are addressing the core of the issue. You are not rolling out product or services that will be generic. No,
I
you are
don't know why I
addressing
can't hear anything.
you are you are addressing the core of the issue,
Hello.
and secondly, you get the buy-in of your customers. So because you are addressing the core, because you are addressing their needs, you get the buy-in. The third one is, of course, you can scale. Scalability is enhanced because you are getting the right service to the right person. We all know that, and I'm sure probably we'll discuss that maybe as this event unfolds, as this session unfolds. We know that one of the banes of digital financial services or data channels for microfinance institutions and clients is the fact that it comes as a change, and naturally, microfinance clients tend to resist change. But when they are trying to resist this change and they see that what you are giving them addresses what they need, I think it's going to give positive feedback and enhanced value to the target. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. That's quite important for us to note. The next question I have on here is, please pardon me. I'm an impromptu moderator, so I'll do my
Mm.
best as I can. I know you. I mean, I'll do my best. Um, okay, how can digital microfinance solutions be tailored to the need to meet the specific needs and preferences of our different customer segments? Susan, can you take that?
Thank you. Yeah, for digital microfinance services, for them to be tailored to the specific needs and preferences of the clients, of course, we would need to first of all understand the market segmentation. What type of clients are we actually dealing with? Like my previous colleague had mentioned, Africa in itself is quite a young population and just growing. And so you find that even in the different markets that we do serve, we have different types of clientele. For example, in our microfinance services, we are servicing clients from 18 years of age up to about 70 years. And you would definitely understand these are about two, three generations apart. And so when you are serving the youth, you know they are quite agile and they are also tech savvy. And you would definitely be at ease in introducing these digital financial services. When you are talking about the older generation, especially in rural Africa, mostly these are clients that would not even be literate. So you definitely need to understand their levels of literacy for you to be able to tailor the digital financial services. The best example that I can give is, when Agora Microfinance Zambia introduced, the tablets and developed a tablet application for our client officers to use in the field. I got a chance to go there and see exactly what is happening in the field. And one of the stages on that application is that we need our clients to actually sign off on the tablet. And for most of the clientele, we had to take up a step to actually even teach them how they could just, hold that tablet, embrace the technology for them to be able to sign off on the tablets. I heard something quite interesting. Probably this would be for Doc or um, Mr. Joshua in the research space. The clients were like, oh my, these were the women who were actually stating that we are unable to sign. We are, uncomfortable, probably because our male counterparts have got more blood than us. Now, I don't know whether there's research to actually prove that, that there is the male counterparts are actually able to manage technology as opposed
Mm.
to female counterparts.
Mm.
But
Mm.
that can already tell you the
Mm.
parity that is there among the clients that do use technology. And therefore, we cannot take it for granted that any generation would actually be able to
Mm.
take up these digital services. So definitely it is imperative for us to ensure that we can tailor these solutions to cater for all the types of clientele that we do have, because in financial inclusion we are saying we do not want to leave anybody behind. because we feel that everybody has an equal opportunity to be financially included. Sure.
Thank you very much. That is very, very, very insightful. Well,
Yeah.
I think we need to conduct a research to find out whether that proposition is really
I
a
totally agree with you. I certainly agree with you.
so thank you for that. Let me ask this question: what are the potential barriers to adopting a digital microfinance services among our underserved population, and how can we actually overcome this? Mr. Emery Babenga, can you take that, please?
Sure. Thank you very much. Key um, difficulty that is the financial literacy. So we have population globally. We developing fast, but the financial literacy isn't necessarily its peak yet. But which is an opportunity for microfinance institution to educate and actually empower those youngsters. So I tend to, as an entrepreneur and as a business person, to always see the glass half full instead of seeing it half empty. So what constitutes here as our kind of weakness is in fact an opportunity for growth. So my point here will be definitely the financial literacy.
Sure.
Uh, are you saying something to it, Susan?
Oh, I can actually add a few points. I totally agree with him. Financial literacy is key, and it's definitely a barrier. And like I mentioned, especially in the rural population. Um, Another barrier that I see is infrastructure. There is very limited infrastructure, and in some areas, there's actually no supporting infrastructure at all. And we are talking about aspects of connectivity, and also the fact that some of our clients would not even be able to buy the smartphones that would allow for robust technology. And so you find some of our clients only have feature phones, or some of them do not even have phones at all. So those are very significant barriers in the rural areas. I feel that the landscape is definitely changing as we go along, and the narrative will not be the same in the immediate term, even. Let's say in the next 2 3 years, the narrative may not be the same. But currently, these are very imminent and significant barriers that would not allow a financial institution to actually be able to provide digital financial services in the rural areas.
Mr. Joshua, do you have anything? Mr. Okute, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Thank you. I think in addition to what the two previous speakers have said, one other major challenge is culture, and I think that's what Susan was trying to say earlier, with
Yeah.
respect to the male having more dominance, more acceptability, more strength, or better blood flowing. This culture, in Africa, it is believed that there are certain things that the male should
Hey,
handle and
Dr.
women.
Jenny, send voice note.
So culture also will affect the acceptance of digital financial services in a typical African community. Another challenge also is cost. The additional cost that this comes
Log
with.
back in, log back in.
Cost of either buying this phone, cost of even the data, or cost of running the phone infrastructure itself might be hindrance. To getting our customers in the rural area or in a semi and urban area embrace technology as a means of getting their microfinance services and products to them.
Thank you very much. Let us look at this. We've actually established a fact that there's a possibility that our customers are illiterate. Let me use that word with all due
Yeah.
humility. Yeah. Secondly, the user face and design, how simple can they be in order
Mm.
to contribute to customer engagement and possibly satisfaction in the digital microfinance era? I'll start with that. Is my question clear enough?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Mr. Rubabenga, you want to start to give that a shot?
Oh, doctor, do you mind repeating the question? I didn't catch what you said. Sorry.
Okay. The question is, when we look at our customers based on their level of literacy, the user interface and interactive simplicity of the platform, how can we make it adaptable and adaptable to them to use digital microfinance?
Oh, thank you, thank you. Some of the tools that we we as microfinance can provide to the market are very simple tools that can be used with feature phones, and they work. We can possibly lend money through feature phones, uh, it works. The M-Pesa in Kenya, for instance, is a big success, and the back end they have of lending money, and you would be surprised. I'm sure you have all in that space. It is amazing in rural area how much we can reach if we use feature phones. So my response to your question would be solutions that can be adaptable on feature phones, um, and a little bit of tutorial using radio or educative program can also work. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank-
Is that Dr. Jenny? You're back in,
Yes, I'm back.
and
Technology
you
is indeed volatile. I'm
okay?
happy
Yeah,
that I started by saying we are in a VUCA and a bunny world. Things are getting
Yeah.
little very, very volatile. I don't know what happened to my technology, but I couldn't hear anything. I'm happy I'm back now, and I'm going to take over from here. Thank you very much, Olu.
thank you very much for putting me on the hot seat. I'm glad to get out of here. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much. So thank you very
Thank
much, Emery. I think I heard what you said rightly. So I would like to find out from Joshua if you would want to top up with anything. Otherwise, I'll just go straight
you.
to another question. But if you have anything, I'll be glad.
Okay,
Thank
okay.
you.
Just to add to what Mira said, one way of making the user interface simple is to adopt the language that our customers understand. Okay, so when you use the language that they understand, I tell you, they will embrace it easily, and also to write on the existing platforms. There are existing platforms that they are using that they will use to. So once you just write on those existing platforms, I think it will be attractive to them to deploy. Thank you.
Thank you too. Hi, Susan. Would you like to add anything on the user face?
Not much to add. I think the two gentlemen have really responded well. But just to emphasize that definitely language is a game changer. I think we have seen that within the spaces where we do operate because it makes them feel part and parcel of the journey. You have given them exactly what they can relate with, and with the excitement that they can actually interact with the system by themselves and really get to understand your system, it really makes a very big difference. So I think for me, being customer centric and using these digital platforms, there is need to carry the customer along the journey. When we leave the customer behind, That is when, in most instances, you find that it's not successful. But there's always a need to actually carry the customer along, making it very simple and something that they can relate with. Yeah.
Thank you very much. There is a need for us to carry the customer along because there is no point doing something for me and I can't appreciate or even work with it. Thank you very much, Susan. I will continue with you by asking you this question. What are the opportunities for leveraging alternative data sources, such as mobile phone usage or social media data, to enhance credit scoring and risk assessment in digital microfinance?
Oh, the opportunities are vast. Data is exactly the language that we are speaking nowadays, I think almost everywhere. And there's a lot of data um, being harnessed by the government, mobile network operators, almost everybody. Anywhere where you are, you have to fill in some form of data. In most advanced economies, you find from a national ID, you can actually get where the person lives, what were their previous transactions, where do they bank, all that information that is there. So I feel that the opportunities are vast, and those opportunities can actually be leveraged by financial institutions to create their credit scoring platforms and technologies using all the AI that they do have within their systems. These days, we find that a lot of advancement, especially in the fintech, is actually making use of this data. I know from the traditional microfinance perspective, there's not so much that we have leveraged at the moment, but I feel that the landscape is also changing. So this data is actually what the fintechs have mostly leveraged and have taken advantage of, because they can actually serve their clients remotely. You find that as a client, I can actually apply for a loan right from the comfort of my home. I do not need to go out, but they have all the information, including my credit history. And I'm able to see my own credit history. And therefore, that also drives client behavior and customer behavior, because I know that if at all I do not have a good credit history, then I will not be able to access some of these facilities. So I feel that data definitely is a game changer, and it can be leveraged. There's a lot of opportunity that financial institutions can make use of, and therefore it calls for a lot of collaboration and coordination and concerted effort among all the industry players, the credit reference bureau sectors, the microfinance, the banks, the government. Everybody needs to come on board with one goal in mind. And if we can use that data, then definitely we will be able to better serve our clients.
Thank you very much, Susan. I like the fact that you reiterated that there is no need for us as institutions to work in silos. Because if we really want to leverage on data, then it means that it is important for us to come together and do more of collaboration. Thank you so much. I will move straight to you, Joshua. How can regulatory framework adapt to support the development and expansion of customer-centric digital microfinance systems or ecosystems? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. So, for microfinance institutions, it's necessary that we have in place some form of regulatory framework because we are dealing with customers who are the lower rung of the pyramid, and they need some comfort. They need to understand that that what these institutions are doing are in line with what they've been asked to do. So when it comes to expansion of customer-centered digital microfinance ecosystem, we're taking these customers outside of what traditionally they are used to. So I think there should be some form of framework to support, to preserve, and to keep, especially customers, um, in safety. And one of these framework is we need framework for data protection. You need to protect customers' data because once you go digital, that means that you have their data probably. These customers data now move from the traditional in-person data. They come to the banks, or they come to the offices. Now it's not digital, it's not being posted somewhere. So there should be regulatory framework for data protection, to protect these customers. There's also be regulatory framework for responsible banking. It would not be nice that services and products. Customers have to pay higher for services and products. I mean, all of these things, yes, we are delivering these products or services through the digital channels, but it should be done responsibly. So there should be a new framework to talk about responsible banking, cost of this banking, I mean, of these services to this customer. There should be also be another regulatory framework, perhaps I mean, in the line of setting limitation to the use of these digital channels. So, because there must be a limitation to the use of the various digital channels um, for for the customer. So, we should have framework around, okay, what are the limitations to the use of these channels? What are the things that you can do? What are the things that you cannot do? How can you do, and how can you not do it? So, I think regulators or supervisors of the microfinance institutions have this responsibility to guide and protect our customers in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joshua. And before anybody adds anything to it, I just want to say that I think about 3 years ago, my country, Ghana, we had to go through a very serious, I'll say, restructuring, bringing some
Mm,
down and making some stand. Those who needed to stand stood firm. We had an issue with the microfinance sector. So, in terms of regulation, I think protection of customers' funds is also very, very important. And I'm sure you are all
mhm.
faced in one way or the other with these
Yeah,
things, because
yeah,
for a
yeah.
customer to believe in the system and trust the system, we need to have
Mm,
rigid or rigorous regulatory frameworks that will protect their
sure.
money, that will protect their data,
Yeah,
and also give them the
yeah.
assurance that this is a system you can trust in and work with. Thank you very much, Joshua, for that comment. I don't know if Mary, you would love to add anything to what Joshua said in terms of regulations.
And maybe what yes, 100%. I think the regulatory framework needs to be robust. 100, we need, but in 21st century, I think it's more of collaboration. So, like someone said before, the regulator is no longer the police that has the but instead we work together jointly. Of course, there's very robust corporate governance on our side to make sure that we moving in the same direction to develop the sector. So I think that's the thing that I would add to the response of Joshua.
Thank you very much. So now I'll ask you this question, Mary. What are some of the innovative approaches to addressing the unique financial needs of micro enterprises and then small businesses through digital microfinancing? Should I pick it up
I'm a
again?
big
Oh, yeah, fine.
fan of copy. Yeah. I think I got the question, and it's about the innovation in the sector, right?
Yes.
So my response would be yeah, to be on a high alert mode in learning what is happening next door. First of all, we have our big sisters, the commercial banks, that have multiple different type of product. All of them are not necessarily adaptable in our world, but we can borrow a leaf from their vast experience. Something else is also to see what has worked in other markets. So, and today the world is a village. I could know exactly what is happening in Susan's space by a click and know what kind of program she's offering and borrow a leaf from there. And Zambia and Rwanda might not be identical. I'll still maybe be in need of adapting, but direct and paste, but copy and a little bit of
And
customization,
create.
and then you can paste and in your own sauce.
Thank you very much. So we don't just copy and paste, but we copy it and make it a bit creative so that it makes it a bit unique. Thank you very much. Susan, would you love to add anything on innovation?
Yeah, sure. Just a few thoughts. Um, we definitely need to be innovative, but of course not too innovative in order to intimidate
A
the
customer.
client. Because definitely we are not challenging the customer, but we are actually are bringing them on board. So certainly I do agree that there's a lot of innovation that is required. I'm also quick to mention that actually innovation in most cases is driven by the market, because our markets are very dynamic. What you see today in the customer needs will not be what they will want tomorrow. And neither would they want that in the next 5 years. Therefore, it is very much important for every financial institution to actually be able to respond to the varying needs of the clients. Um, One example that I can actually give from the innovation side, and I'm sure my colleagues would agree with me, at the point when most people realize that we actually cannot just provide one
One size
product
fits all.
in terms of financial products, lending, loans. You want now to diversify what type of loans are you offering. And when people were getting into the agriculture space, we quickly got to realize that the terms and conditions that you can actually provide on a generic loan will not fit the agriculture
Fits.
loan. And most of us actually were burnt, because then those loans had a lot very high portfolio at risk. They did not perform so well. But then we begin to realize that, oh, these are actually different. Farmers, we need to study their
Yes,
incomes.
cycle.
We need to study the farming pattern. Further to that, we also need to understand the type of crop that they're actually farming, for us to be able to serve their needs better. So we cannot really overemphasize the fact that financial services definitely need to respond to the varying needs and the dynamics that are there in the market. And therefore, we definitely need to innovate. It is time for design thinking, rethink what you have thought, probably discard it, and just start thinking afresh and see what exactly is the world telling us that we actually need to do today in order to provide the appropriate financial services.
Thank you so much, Susan. I would like to ask Joshua this question. How can customer trust and confidence be built and maintained in digital microfinance, considering concerns such as fraud, data breaches, and customer disputes? I think I asked this because earlier on you were speaking about the fact that there are some robust things that needs to be done. So as we
Yeah.
all know, being customer centric means that we need to form an ecosystem where trust is built. So I just want you to elaborate more on this so that we can touch base with our customers day in and day out. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Genevieve. Thank you for that. When I'm talking about digital microfinance or digital channels in delivering our services, it's more or less like it's a form of a change management process. And usually in change management, you need to the various things that you need to do in that. You need to explain the change to the people that the change is made for. You need to accept the change first. Once the customers have accepted that change, or first, then trust will be built or will continue to be built. So one of the things that microfinance institutions needs to do to build trust and confidence really is continuous education. Continuous education, that's where you tell the clients that, look, this is why I'm serving you digitally this type of process, product or service. So once you understand the need or the reason for that, especially if it comes from the customer's perspective. So if you say, I want to serve you digitally because I, as an institution, I want to be more efficient, the customer asks himself or herself, oh, so is it all about you? But when you make it known from the customer's perspective, he understands value creation there, and they accept it, then trust is built. Another thing again is when we have okay, so just as a follow up to my initial response,
Submission.
regulation is also necessary. Once customers know that, okay, this transaction or this engagement is not just a two-way engagement, there's a third party there who can step in whenever there is issues or one call between the customers and the institutions. Regulation is there to regulate institution. It gives them, I mean,
That
it
trust.
engenders trust. Another way again is when institutions, when you are promptness in regularizing dispute or complaints, because I mean, if you talk about digital channels, digital services, definitely there will be issues of complaints, issues of dispute. So the sooner, the faster you regularize this, the more it builds trust. But the more complaints takes, I mean, the longer it takes, the more customers. And don't forget that customers are not customers like you and I. I mean, just imagine, Dr. G had, when you're talking about VUCA environment, I was just laughing that you experience VUCA yourself today with respect to your digital, I mean,
Technology,
related to your,
exactly.
technology. So you could wait because you are more knowledgeable, you understand that look. But just imagine a customer who does not have such level of education,
Understanding
so
education.
and
Yeah.
understanding, and it's taking long for say his account to be resolved. Come on, we will not use
Run
that
out of
service
patience.
again.
Yeah.
Yes, run out of patient, and you will just say trust. And what they will say is, hey, that institution, don't mind them, don't accept. They are using that channel to take away money and once one person tells the other, trust is eroded. Thank you.
Thank you too. I just want to bring this scenario across. So you know how formally we would go out there for microfinance institutions to pick
Mm,
monies from market women and all
mm,
that. Going
mm,
into the future, are we looking at a scenario where once the money is picked, because the issue is the money being picked and getting back to the right place sometimes becomes a problem, and then
mm,
customers' monies are nowhere to be found. So are
mm,
we looking into the future where, just like we see in our bigger banks or the commercial banks, where once the money is paid probably at the post bank, or let's say at the agent's location, there is probably, even if not instant, maybe within a few minutes, you can get an alert on your phone that your money
mm,
has been deposited. Are we looking
mm,
into the future in terms of innovation in this angle?
mm, mm. Okay. So I mean, it's here, it's happening now. We have institutions, especially in Nigeria, that um, their staff go out to pick money from customers, and as they pick the money, instantly the customer gets the alert because they go with some form of tabloid, some form of smartphones, even some form of smart POS devices, and they get the alert immediately, because that's one way also of engendering trust
Trust.
or building trust. That okay, once this person comes to pick money from me, instantly on my phone, I get an alert, even at times before the person leaves that place. So it's something that is being deployed currently.
Thank you very much. Susan, if I may ask, do you have such innovative ways in Zambia?
I'm actually just laughing, Genevieve, because when you're actually saying formally, this is what we used to do, and I'm saying, oh, Agora Microfinance, we are still there. Because of some of the challenges that I did highlight earlier on, a lack of connectivity in the rural areas and the right infrastructure. And we go from the CBD deep into the rural areas, about 100 kilometers radius. So where we are going, our clients will meet under a tree. And
Okay.
you will find that in those places there's no connectivity. So we are still having that
Use.
cash handling level where
Mm.
we do take the cash to our clients and still get the collections from the client. And of course, our hope is that we will one day be able to provide those services in those areas. Definitely, an issue of trust is very cardinal in our operations. Earlier on, as we were talking about risk, when we're making these digital platforms easy, simple to use, and intuitive, we definitely need to ensure that there is a level of control. There's a level of risk management there,
Because of
because
our
every
bad guys
person.
out there, our
Yeah,
hackers.
yeah, yes. You have
Yeah.
bad guys. Let me give you an example. It's not necessarily in the rural areas, but this actually happened with my own mother.
Mm.
Here in Zambia, we had a fraud in one of the big banks, and it was an insider fraud, and an employee had embezzled or taken
Hinted.
around $400,000. The day my mother heard that, she said, please take me. Right now, I want to go to the bank and go
Collect
and
all
get my
my
money.
money.
Collect all my money. I want it out. And I had to, it was a lot of effort in convincing her that your money is actually safe in the bank, because she doesn't even understand insurance. She doesn't know anything about insurance. All she just told me was, Susan, if an insider employee can steal my money, these people will definitely steal my money. I want to
I
go
can
and get it
imagine.
from that place. So there's a huge demand out there in terms of trust and risk management, and ensuring that we can actually provide that assurance to our clients that their monies are safe with us. And definitely they need to trust our products and services. Yeah.
Well done, Susan. And just to throw a challenge out there to all the technology wizards, if I may put it that way, please try and come up with very innovative packages for communities like what Susan is just describing. Because I think across Africa, we all have these communities very, very much. And we
Sure.
need to look into the future and see how best we can bridge this gap and make customers trust us more and do business more, because definitely there are so many unbanked people out there and the commercial
Mhm.
banks are doing their best, but together with you, the microfinance institution, I think we can do better. So this is a little
Sure.
challenge I'm throwing out there to all of you who are into technology. Okay, I would just
Definitely,
want to
Doc, and probably another
please
thing
go
that
on.
I could add is, when a person has a sense of belonging, um, then they know and they can develop that trust with you. I think the gap that we need to bridge today is to ensure that our clients have a connection to the institution. As you would understand, microfinance, it is the client officer out there in the field who is the face of the organization. And our clients do trust these client officers, even over 100%, because that is the person that they see daily.
Yeah.
That is the person that they interact with. They feel that is the person who has actually come to respond to their needs. And therefore every institution needs to be alive to the fact that the clients need to see a connection between themselves and the actual institution, and not necessarily the officer who is there to represent. That gap, once it is bridged, I feel that definitely there will be a lot of trust that is built. And of course, SMSing and call centers and constantly being in touch with the clients definitely helps to bridge that gap.
Thank you so much. In saying this, I just want to just touch base on something little that we used to do. So I'm a former banker. So every now and then we go into the market, we go to places that usually you not see probably a branch manager or a director going, just to touch base with customers, just to let them know that look, apart from the faces that you see, like the sales executives and the relationship managers, we are also here. And if there is any other thing, we could always come and you could always get in touch with us. So thank you very much. I would love to ask Imeri this. This is to wrap up our session so that we can get more time for question and answers. So I'm asking you, Imeri, what are the future trends and innovations that are likely, sorry, how can social impact measurement and evaluation be integrated into digital microfinance platforms to assess the effectiveness of customer-centric initiatives? Thank you.
Oh, wow. Great question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Maybe I'll touch base for a second on the previous conversation
Sure.
to Susan and tell her, we need maybe to use this type of platform that Microfinance Africa has given us to exchange best practices and to even
Yeah,
connect beyond this conversation. And in terms of information technology, I heard maybe there are a few things that I could and some others learn from you, either in Zambia or from our colleague also from Nigeria. So back to your
agreed.
question, measurements of social, yeah, deal. And thank you for inviting us for this magnificent debate and putting microfinance in Africa on. So coming back to your question about social impact, it's, you know, social enterprises are businesses. Okay, they have this role and important, significant role to have impact in the society, but they have turn, uh, and this is number one, to be perceived as businesses first, even before having an impact. Now, having said that, they have a very, very important role in the society because it's not just about bottom line. And we have tools today that can enable to measure and make sure that there is still, you know, we can tick the box of bottom line while having an impact. So it's just a matter of tools. And we talked earlier about AI. We talked about business analytics, and these are used maybe at a bigger level at the corporate bank, but we are seeing this trend coming up to us as well. So definitely tools are there, and happy to share some of in that field.
Thank you very much. Joshua, just to ask if you could add up, talking about tools, we all know what is happening in the world now. AI is the
Mm,
next big thing.
mm,
How are we going to still be customer centric whilst
mm,
applying some of these tools?
mm. Okay. So, I think this is just in tandem with the question asked earlier at the beginning of this session. The first thing is, I was at an event and we were discussing this, and one of the panelists did say something that for microfinance institutions, you don't build your digital platforms and now bring your existing business into that digital platforms. No, you may fail. But what you need to do is look at the needs of the customers and see which of these platforms can
Fit.
you deploy to meet those needs. So if there are pains that customers have, for example, if there are challenges of speed, challenges of cost, challenges of maybe reach, okay, so what can I deploy digitally to solve these problems? If there are things that will give the customers gains, so you look at this to solve. So it's not just to do this haphazardly or bring the entire gamut of our business into that. So once we focus on the customer strictly, and we do analysis of this customer's needs, then deploying these whatever platforms should be a good fit for these customers.
Thank you very much. Susan, just to wrap up, maybe you can give us your take out or your takeaway for us. What should we take away?
Thank you. And probably before I wrap up, I could just add a voice to the
Sure.
social performance or impact aspect. You know, client behavior to a large extent is actually driven by the social aspects. What is the size of the family that somebody has? That would definitely drive their client behavior and also have an impact on their repayment capacity. the type of livelihood, the culture that is there, the traditions that are there. And in my opinion, this is something that AI probably needs to catch up on in terms of the culture side of it. And that is where the gap is. That is why we feel we have so much advanced in technology, but we have left the people behind because the culture is still as it was, and we have not been able to incorporate this in AI. So I'm hoping that I can see that gap being breached. But to an extent, of course, we see the results. Let's say, for example, a client that is in default, and you're able to see this on the Credit Reference Bureau, and that is the history that you take out of it. But exactly what has caused this client to be in default is something that probably you are not really understanding. And therefore, you are leaving behind a client that could have been a potential good client, but because their credit score rate is actually poor, and you cannot give them a loan. So I'm hoping if we can see and really incorporate the social aspect of the client's livelihoods, then definitely we will nail it in terms of AI. My final thoughts around this: customer. I think we go back to where it started from. I think when we started the conversation, I kept saying the customer, that's the starting point. That's the starting point, that's the middle point, that's the end. If whatever it is that you are saying, like Joshua did mention, you developed a product and you want the customers to adopt it without really incorporating their needs, you will not be successful. So we definitely need to think about the customer, whatever it is that we want to do in our innovation hubs. We need to think about the customer, anticipate the customer needs in the next 2 years. What exactly would the customer needs look like? Even the rural client, possibly like here in rural Zambia, the rural client will be on WhatsApp. The rural client will be on Instagram. Can I
Facebook.
actually yes, can I actually have a product on Instagram that the client can access, and they can get their financial services from there? Yeah, so being customer centric, we cannot overemphasize that. That is where the future is. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Susan. So it's more like we going to the doorstep of the customer, bringing
Exactly.
business to their doorstep, what they wish for,
Sure.
what they actually need, and not what we think that they need, but actually
No.
working together
Mhm.
with them. Thank you so much.
Yes.
So customer, customer, customer. Thank you
Customer,
very much.
customer, customer. Go to the
Thank you
doorsteps,
very
break the
much.
barriers. That is what
That's
it
it.
is.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Mary, please, can you give me your closing thoughts?
Oh, about collaboration. So I think this we living magnificent where public sector and private sector can join hands and do amazing things. 10 years ago, the regulator was perceived like a policeman, was
A
said earlier.
policeman.
Today, we need to, or a prosecutor. Today, we sit down with the bank. They are also a little bit sometimes scared with the technology
That is happening.
goes super fast, but they understand that they need to technology. Today, you can just use to have fax in our offices. We
Offices.
thought we won't live without fax today, and the fax is completely obsolete. So if we don't
Oh, yeah.
anticipate to embrace technology, we will be obsolete. So collaboration
Perfect.
and technology definitely will be my key two words.
Thank you so much. So, collaboration and technology. We are in a different kind of generation, the new norm, and we don't even know what the next 5 years is going to bring onto us. So, definitely, technology is not something that we need to joke with. Aside the skepticism, we should still be ready to embrace technology in all we do. And collaboration, I say, especially should replace the word competition, because we are not in competition with anyone. We might be doing the same business, we might be doing the same thing, just 2 minutes away from each other, But when we collaborate, we make it better and bigger. So thank you so much, collaboration and technology, customer, customer, customer. Yes, Joshua, what are your closing thoughts?
Okay, thank you. So my closing thoughts are one, okay, as mentioned by my colleague, the Mary collaboration. The other one is regulations must be stiff, must be accurate, and must be relevant. So regulators need to come on board to understand that customers' funds need to be protected. So in having a digital MFI ecosystem, regulation I mean, is key. Secondly, the MFI should understand that to manage customers digitally, it requires a different set of skill sets. So MFI should endeavor to acquire the necessary skills to manage our customers in the digital ecosystem. Also, in everything that we are doing, there is risk. So the risk management aspect of it must also be looked into by institutions to understand how to manage the risk of having a digital MFI or digitally focused MFI. Then, just like every other person has said, all of this should be focused and targeted at that one person that we are serving, which is the customer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joshua. So the regulatory frameworks, the regulatory system should be rigorous and robust so that together we can all have that built that confidence and gain customer confidence. I would also like to touch on this because you are the head or you are in charge of a lot of microfinances. I want us to also focus more on green financing because now looking at the ESG framework that we are all thinking and working with, these are key
Mm,
things that we should look at as businesses. So
mm.
in talking to your different microfinance institutions, let's drum more into their minds. They should focus more and support more of green financing so that people into agricultural recycling methods, things that would make the environment finer and cleaner as we are all looking forward to 2030 per the Paris Convention. That's what we are all praying for. So that's what I'll leave you with. Thank you so much, gentlemen, and my dear lady Susan, for the great discussions. Now the floor is open for questions and comments. Thank you very much. So, Olu, do we have some questions in the chat or?
They said you've answered all their questions.
Okay,
They said you've done beautiful well to all the questions they wanted to ask.
I think we still have some 5 minutes, so it's open for comments, suggestions, questions, challenges. Like I have shown two challenges out there already. They should look more into coming up with very innovative stuff to support very remote communities. And my second challenge is for all of us to focus more on ESG, environmental, social, and governance frameworks, so that we can do businesses and do them well per the Paris Convention and what we are all looking for to make the community and the world a better place. So if there are any suggestions, comments, it's open for us to have. Thank you.
Well, let me come in with a suggestion or just to encourage those of us in Africa. I think we need to collaborate more. This conference for me has been an eye opener. For us over the last 48 hours to bring together almost 20 or more than 20 CEOs of different microfinance banks across Africa. It's the knowledge, the pot of knowledge, the source, the ocean of knowledge we have. We cannot consume it on our own. And I sincerely believe there should be more platforms for integration, for sharing knowledge, for sharing experiences, for
Best
moving
practices.
together best practices. And I think our strength lies in our unity and our diversity. Though we are not diverse, I mean, there's no diversity amongst us, but the imagine diversity should be our strength. And over the last 48 hours, we've made connections. And I definitely sure that businesses interactions will go on from here. I just want to encourage everybody. I just want to appreciate everybody. Thank you for all you're doing. And let us keep doing more.
Thank you, Olu. So, if we have no questions, I would also challenge you, Olu, that let's see a physical platform where we get to engage next year. We would have a hybrid. I am looking forward to seeing a hybrid session where we can physically meet as industries or leaders across the globe, across the African continent, where we can meet physically and discuss some of these things, as well as also have the virtual sessions for those who cannot afford to be there physically. So I'm challenging you and your team that come next year, we want to see the Microfinance Summit for Africa in one of the African countries. We have Rwanda here, I have Ghana here, we have Zambia, we have any of these people. You can collaborate with us to host the conference. So I'm also challenging you and your team, Olu. And also
Uh,
for all of us, I think we should have a platform where we get to continuously engage. It should not just end there, like Mary said. The conversation should continue. Thank you very much.
and thank you much for the challenge. I think the challenge also is not for me. I think more it goes directly to Mr. Joshua Kuti. So I'll take it
Yeah,
for I'll take it for him.
yeah,
So
yeah,
so the challenge
yeah.
is now, Mr. Joshua Kuti, we need to plan an African microfinance summit that all of us will be there
Yeah.
together. Mr. Emery, Rubabenga, that is also to you, and to Susan, that is to you too. So I'll be your supporting striker, but you are the ones that are in the field. You are the ones that will do everything together. But we'll take the challenge in good faith, and I think that is quite necessary, and we work towards achieving that. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
Yes,
much.
thank you, Dr. G. I think you just took the word right off my head. I think we started engagement, on that, process of that. I know we have reached out to the Rwandan Microfinance Association. I was in Rwanda, I think, was in April for the Microfinance Tech Conference. So it's something for us to come together as institutions, as associations in microfinance bank. Thank God all is here. So I'm sure we in Nigeria, that association in Nigeria, in fact, we are happy to have this very big session come next year. I'll be
Sure.
happy to see it happen. So Olu, I think this is the best time for us to work together with Ame. I think with Ame in Rwanda and with my other colleagues in Zambia and Ghana too. I know Yo is there. Yo is in Ghana. I have Quentin. I mean,
Yeah,
well,
cool. Yeah.
Quentin. So we can put some things together. Thank you.
I'll be your accountability partner, making sure that it happens. So
Okay.
next year,
Okay.
so we've
Okay.
all agreed, and all the
Yeah.
other panel sessions that I'm sure they're
Yeah.
still listening to
Yeah.
us, and
Yeah.
all of you there
Yeah.
listening to us. I'm going to be the headmistress. I'm going to be the accountability partner. I'm going to ensure that there is going to be a platform for all of us who have engaged in this session this year, and then we look forward to having a physical session next year, God willing. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure moderating this session, and I wish you the very best of the week and all the best in whatever you find yourself doing in your countries. Let's continue making Africa proud, and let's rewrite the African narrative. It is so possible, and we can all make it happen. So thank you so much. It's been great being your moderator. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
Well,
you, Dr.
much.
Sue.
Thank you.
on the last note, I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you, and thank you again. It's nice having everybody here. Your contribution has been so great. And I'm pretty sure all our customers, my phone is buzzing with calls and text messages. It's been great having you. Thank you for taking your time to be part of this event. God
Thank you.
bless you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bless you too. Bye for now.
Thank you so much.
Thank
It
you
was a
too.
pleasure. Thank
It's a
you.
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
We have come to the end of the Africa Microfinance Conference 2023. I hereby stand before you to give you the closing remark. I stand before you with a sense of deep appreciation and inspiration. The African Microfinance Conference 2023 has been an incredible journey of recovery, discovery, recovery, collaboration, and empowerment. Over the past 2 days, we have witnessed thought-provoking discussions, insightful presentations, and passionate exchange of ideas. We have explored the immense potential of digital technologies to revolutionize microfinance services and drive financial inclusion in Africa. We have delved into challenges and opportunities presented by the digital era, and we have come together to envision a future where no one is left behind. This conference has served as a catalyst for change, sparking new ideas, fostering meaningful connections, and igniting collective commitment to action. The discussions have been rich. The expertise shared has been invaluable, and the friendship forged will undoubtedly endure beyond the confines of this conference. As we all take our seat from this event, let us carry with us the spirit of collaboration and innovation that has defined this conference. Let us remain steadfast in our dedication to advancing microfinance and financial inclusion in Africa, harnessing the power of digital solutions to uplift the lives of individuals and communities that we serve. The road may be challenging, but it is one that we can navigate together. We have witnessed the incredible resilience and determination of microfinance practitioners across the continent, and we are equipped with the knowledge and tools to overcome any obstacles that may come our way. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all speakers, panelists, facilitators, team members who generously share their experience and insights. I would also like to express my sincere appreciation to our partners and volunteers whose support and dedication made this conference possible. And most importantly, I thank each and every one of you, the delegates, for your active participation, engagement, and commitment to driving change. Let us leave this event inspired, motivated, and empowered to take the necessary steps towards deepening microfinance services in the digital era. Let us collaborate more, innovate, and leverage the transformative power of technology to create a more inclusive and prosperous Africa. On behalf of the organizing committee, I wish you well and I wish you success in your endeavors. May our paths cross again and may the impact of our collective efforts be felt for the generations to come. Thank you. Farewell. Till we see again. Africa Microfinance Conference 2024. Have a blessed one. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.